Now, if you've produced a television show or an audiovisual project before, you know it's really hard to get a crew and to keep a crew happy and really to show them how much you appreciate them for their hard work. One simple way you can do that is create an IMDB entry for your project and give people credit where credit is due. Navigating to imdb.com here. All right. Now, I'm going to click sign in and create new account. I have an account, but I'm going to make a new one just to show you guys how to do it from scratch. We'll see if it lets me. I'm entering all my info. You don't need to see what my password is, so boop, create an account. And it's that simple. I created an account. Now IMDb, this is what it looks like if you haven't seen it before. This is where you'll find any information you want on a film or television show. So here at Pasadena Media, for instance, we have a show called News Wrap. And if you search News Wrap, you get all this info here. Now, if we're up to date on our data entry, it should reflect every episode and who's been a part of it. And so we like to show people our appreciation for volunteering on the show by entering their cast and crew credits. So anyone who's volunteered on this show, you can see a lot of names are popping up here. They should have gotten a credit at some point. So now to make a new entry, you're going to come up here to menu and you are going to go to contributor zone. So you want to add a new title. So this would be for your television show or your short film or whatever it may be. I'm going to show you how to do a TV show. A TV show is like an ongoing project. They should be able to add episodes of later. So we need to confirm our email. I had that email sent to me. Let's check out if it came through. Great. So here's the email. It's asking me to confirm the email address. So I'm going to click through. This is kind of standard stuff that any website's going to ask for. You put in the CAPTCHA. Well, we're already logged in here, so let's stay there. Now we're going to click menu again and go to contributor zone. So how to add a new title. So here's what the screen looks like, and you can see it is very much kind of Web 1.0. This is pure data entry. Title, what's the name of your show? For the sake of this project, I'm going to add a new show. So we're starting a program series called Safer at Home Stories. So I'm going to make that the title. I'm anticipating the series goes on, and so I'll need to make it episodic. So I'm going to say it's a made for TV. It's a series, mini-series, web series, special TV. It's a program that will be aired on the Arroyo channel. So status, it's released and screened, available to the public, or a firm date set in relative near future. That's the category I'm interested in. Say your show hasn't been released to television. You can consider the date that it drops on YouTube as its release date. It's going to be a lot easier for you to do this if it has been released or is at least set to release. In my experience, if it's like a short movie that you've only shown to some friends or something like that and it's not really anywhere to see, it's going to be a lot harder for you to complete this. At many points when you're entering IMDb, it's going to kick back to you and ask follow-up questions. And so it's a kind of circular data entry process where you're probably going to have to correct some information, revise redundant information, and that sort of thing going forward. And I'm going to put myself down as producer, director, or writer. I'm producing the program, and that's really what you want to see. This is a lot easier if you are the producer of the project to get entry with a new title onto IMDb. And then click check these updates. You want to get familiar with the check these updates button. That's what you're going to be doing a lot of, data entry, then checking. Great, and you see it asked a follow-up question. Is this a TV series, a TV mini-series, a TV movie, a special, or an unaired TV pilot? If it's going to be a continuous series, you're going to want to click TV series. If you don't know when it's ending, go ahead and click that. Released and screened a year. It's 2020, believe it or not. We are in the future. Great, and it's come up, and this title has been rejected. The year range is invalid. So you're going to see a lot of pink. Don't freak out. That just means you need to correct things. And already I see something, and this gives you an opportunity to rethink. Did you spell that person's name right? Is everything just correct? And I already noticed an issue. The name of the show is Safer at Home Stories. So I'm going to add that stories to there. And it's released and screened available to the public. And now I can click the ongoing box. That's going to let IMDb know this is a series. In the future, there's going to be more entries, that sort of thing. Now recheck these updates. IMDb tries to eliminate redundant titles, which is something that can happen a lot. Redundant names, redundant titles. So it wants to see if it's a title that already exists. So it's giving me these options, but it's not. So I'm going to say this is not an existing title. Recheck these updates. Okay, and you see how every time it's reviewing while adding new information. So I'm getting warnings. Before your new title can be submitted for review, you need to provide adequate information on this contribution. They want to keep IMDb as useful as possible. And so this is one of the hoops that they want you to jump through to kind of prove that this is a valid production. And this makes sense. And this is why I was saying it's easier if the show has aired. So release dates. So we're going to do that now. We're going to give IMDb some information that'll be helpful to prove that this is a title that deserves to be on their site. Let's add one item of release date. Miscellaneous link. A link is going to help you. If you have a link to a website where the video actually exists, get a shareable link. There we are. Now we're going to provide that to IMDb. Boop. And then I'm putting description episode on YouTube. And I try to give them as much information as I can. So please provide at least 2 items from this section. And you can add the country of origin. So it's going to be the USA. Okay. Languages, it's primarily in English. I imagine other languages could be present, but it's in English. Is it color or black and white? It is color. Genre, we're going to say it is a talk show. If you know you're going to have the same director episode to episode, go ahead and put that. In this case, it will be me. Technically, it's a kind of a shot over Zoom or on their online media. So we're just going to say it's Jarrett, it's me. And when you put a name in, it's going to, again, try to prompt you to find names that already exist in the IMDb entry. So you can associate it with someone that IMDb already knows. Very helpful if you have a name that's kind of unique, like my own. There's not a lot of people with this name. Harder if you have someone on your crew that has a very common name. Production information. Budget, I'm going to leave that blank. There's not a unique website for the show, so I'm going to leave that blank. In the past, I have entered a URL for, say, the production company of it. And you can see it will take if there's an official blog or an official Facebook group. A group that shows some legitimacy of either the production end or the distribution end of the show, that will help you out. Distributors. And so here, the show will air on the Arroyo channel, so I can put something about that, or I could put the umbrella production company Pasadena Media. I'm actually just going to put that under production company Pasadena Media. Okay, and it prompts me of U.S. production company. I'll go with that. Major credits. The show's going to, I'll probably be hosting the interviews, but the show's going to feature different people every episode. But I will add my name just because, and I know I'm adding a lot of myself here, so it seems a bit self-aggrandizing, but this is currently the only project I can use to show you guys how to do this. Producers, sure, I can add a couple credits for that. So I'm going to say add 3 credits. It will have consistent producers. Editors, I will add an editor. Me again. Okay. Running times, I'm going to leave a lot of these blank, but you can of course add all this if you want to. And adding any information is as simple as pulling the drop down menu and telling IMDb how many items you want to add. And you'll always have the option of going back and adding more information to this if you want to. So again, after you click that box which says update, recheck these updates, it's always going to have you kind of rehash and go through the form again. Yellow means there's something you can check. There might be warnings. The title's been rejected. So it's saying this is not an existing title. So it's asking, because of the COVID-19, this is new to me here, it's saying they're kind of wary. Is there actually a production happening? Nobody should be producing right now, right? But that's actually the production we're creating addresses that. So I'm going to try to power through this warning. A lot of times it'll give you a warning, but you can power through it one way or another, or in other words, ignore it. So we're going to try to ignore it. So I can just say warning understood, go ahead anyway. Green means it's good, keep going ahead. Directors, only the person credited as the main director. Okay, that's fine. When it's trying to match the name of who you entered to an actual person, it helps to, it gives you in parentheses other projects they've worked on. So if you're familiar with the person in question, you should know some of the other stuff they've worked on, and that'll help you pick the right person. Official sites, we will just put pasadenamedia.org and we'll say production company site. Major credits, cast. All right, so I'm gonna put my name. Still trying to be humble, folks, but when you are adding your own project, which you probably will be because you're probably the producer, you might be typing your name a lot, but you can still be humble. Remember, you're doing it for your cast and crew. And character, I'm going to say host. Okay, producers. Try to match them with a project they've worked on, or just say result not shown, and it'll come back to that later. Choose that. Editors, so I'll be editing it, so recheck these updates. So every time you recheck, you add more information, you correct some information. And it's actually already, it's seemingly going to take that. It really doesn't want to take this website. Maybe if I do www, let's try that, okay? And look at all these. I'm going to say it is, look at all these Chris Millers. Now, some of them are associated with shows I am familiar with, like Arroyo Profiles, but there's not even one is. So I'm going to just say the latest one, that one. I could also say I'm not sure, submit it as Chris Miller and let IMDb staff decide. That's up to you. And recheck these updates. Good. So now it's actually ready, and it will take this entry. So I could submit these updates and it will be an entry. Now it'll be about 3 or 4 days before it's reviewed, and it has to review before you see it up there. And the next step I would do after IMDb accepts this and posts it to their site is I'll go through and start adding episodes. So that's an opportunity where after they've accepted this page and this is in there, I would go back and create another entry for episodes. So I'm going to take a break and I'll come back in a couple days when IMDb actually accepts this entry, and I'll show you how to add episodes to your IMDb entry. And we're back. So yesterday we took a look at how to set up an IMDb account and how to create a page for your show. Create a new entry announcing to the world that your show has arrived. And today I've logged back into my IMDb and I can check to see if IMDb has updated and added my show to its rosters. So I'm going to search for Safer at Home Stories, and boop, there it is. The title is now in IMDb. So I can click the title, and now it's just IMDb knows it's a show, but it doesn't have any kind of information about the episode that we have up. Now that you're logged in, you will be able to add an episode or edit the page. So say later on someone else becomes the host of this project, you can change this, you can edit the page and change it, or if some other significant element of the show itself changes. So you click Add Episode, and now the form looks much the same. Again, it's data entry. With one episode, I can enter all this for the episode which is released. And now the video premiered yesterday, and it was released. And here it is. I like to often have the video open as I'm doing the entry. This is helpful if you need to look at the credits for the show. Another helpful trick is if the show had a call sheet and you have access to that. If you're the producer, you should get the production schedule, the call sheet, and make sure you're getting everyone's name. So for episode title, what title does the viewing public see that as? This is a talk show, so I'm just going to use Daniel Niswander's name and the Nowman Show. That's the title of the episode. The original air date, it premiered yesterday, so we're going to say it was the 8th. USA and number. Now for IMDB, they want to have a numbering system. So the best thing to do is season plus episode. We're going to call it 1.1, season 1, episode 1. And I am a producer. And then check these updates. Boom. Okay, so that took that. And now is when you can add the names. Now, unfortunately for the project we're working on today, it's because of the conditions we're producing under, it's kind of a one-man band kind of production. So there's not too many credits, but your average studio production is going to have a lot of credits. So director, I can add 1 credit, that would be me. Producer, and you did see earlier in the video, I added all this. Now that's just for the series as a whole, who's generally the director, who's generally the producer. Every episode might change though, so you still need to add this information. Cast, and also I'm going to click this box to add more data for categories that aren't listed above. Select this box. Click that box there. And submit these updates. Recheck these updates. There we go. Cool. And so now you're going to loop back, and now is when you can add the information. So the director, again, that was me. Producer, and again, I'm going to pick a project I know Aaron worked on so that I get the right Aaron. Cast, all right. I'm going to put himself, Daniel Niswander himself. Okay, cast and crew. So this is where it can take a lot of time. Why don't I give Adam and Eric some credits here? Again, because they produced their segments. Editorial department, I'll add 3 credits for all the different pieces that were within there. Makeup, music, production designers. And right now I'm just going through and telling IMDB what credits I want in there. The more people you have working on your project, the longer this will take you. And yes, you have to do this for every episode your show releases. So it can take quite some time with data entry. Cool, and I'm gonna check these updates. Green's good. Green means, hey, it accepted it. Yellow, it wants some more information. So I'm just clicking to make sure I have the right person. Cast and crew. Second unit directors. So, Eric and Adam are going to get a credit since they produced and directed their submission. We'll call them a second director. But I just realized, having produced this over Zoom, I set up my camera, and Dan also set up his camera. So he should also get a credit too, right? As a camera person? Why not? So I'm going to change that to be 4 credits rather than just 3. Okay, Pasadena Media, boop. And it's in color. Recheck these updates. So green, 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 you love seeing green. Yellow, you just have to read what it wants you to do, give it a little more information. So now for camera, I'm gonna put myself. Camera operator. See, so even if it's on a Zoom show, it's just conversations over Zoom. This is the show right here that we're entering. You can consider yourself camera operators if you set up these cameras. And then the reason we gave Adam and Eric credits here is because Adam submitted a segment and Eric Bailey submitted a segment, a tutorial. So yeah, they deserve credit, right? They operated their cameras, they did some editing, they did some producing and directing. I always say giving someone credit is free. It's no cost to you, just takes a few seconds of data entry. So give people all the credit they deserve. Okay, recheck these updates. Still getting some. Yep, this is it accepted the name, but it's the first credit they've gotten in that section. So you say this is the first credit in that section. In Hollywood, a lot of people kind of stay in their lane, so it can be unusual for people to get credits in a new section for the first time. So IMDb is making sure it's the correct person. Great. So we're seeing all green almost. This is the first credit in this section for... great. Recheck these updates. And now it's ready. Everything's green. I can submit it. And what should happen is IMDb will check it, and in a day, 2 days, 3 days, it'll update, and this episode will be live on the page. So I'm going to submit. And then when you go to the actual page later for Safer at Home Stories, I usually come back a day or two later, 3 days later, and I keep checking until it's on there just to make sure that the episode is on there. But what will happen is it'll repopulate all the information. The cast will expand. You can look at individual episode credits, and it's just going to make this section, the Safer at Home entry on IMDb, more robust and accurate and full. And that's how you create an entry on IMDb. And you're going to want to always check back when you have a new episode. Do the data entry that's required to update that new episode. And this is a great way to thank your cast and crew for being a part of your team and making the production happen.